All right, everyone. Here we are, DodgerHeads Live, presented by DodgerBlue.com. And the Los Angeles Dodgers are World Series champions 2020. I've got my 1988 World Series shirt on.
Wow.
I've got a 1988 World Series hat that you can tell has been there since 1988.
I guess you gotta get new ones now, huh?
My wife has already put restrictions on my spending limit tonight. I told her that, Postgame, there's no promises about what our credit card statement looks like tomorrow.
Yeah.
I joke too. I've got one last hat to show. This was a gift that was given to me in 2017, never worn.
Oh, burn that thing.
Ignored forever. The good news is we get one that says champions this year. So, I mean, just give me where you're at, Daniel. Give me where you're at.
I mean, I was born in 1994, so this is the first Dodgers championship I've ever seen. I like throughout that whole ninth inning, I had no clue what to do with my hands. I didn't know what to do with my legs. Like I just had no clue what to do. And as soon as they got it, I just felt like the feeling of euphoria. Like, oh my God, it finally happened. What I've been waiting my whole life for finally happened. I'm so happy. I'm so happy for all the players. I'm happy for Dave Roberts, but most happy for Clayton Kershaw, no doubt. I mean, that guy's been through it all, and at this point now, there's no one could say a word to that guy. He is the GOAT. Give the man his flowers. He's a champion. I'm rocking him right now.
There you go.
Got my Kershaw jersey on, so so happy right now, and obviously, I mean, prayers up for Justin Turner, who we learned got a positive COVID test. The timing is just incredible on that. But hopefully he didn't spread it to anyone. Hopefully he's okay. But, I mean, man, can't believe it. Dodgers won it, baby.
Yeah. I mean, we'll get to Turner. We'll get to a play-by-play of how we got to this point. But I think, for me, it's Kershaw. I mean, I've said it multiple times before. Yeah. I wanted a World Series for Clayton Kershaw more than I wanted it for the Dodgers, more than I wanted it for myself. I wanted him to be vindicated. I wanted him to be recognized, and for him to throw two fantastic games for the Dodgers in this series.
Yep.
I mean, it's everything you wanted. He put together his best postseason from start to finish. He's, two big starts for the Dodgers, and just to see the look on his face, to see the tears in his eyes. I mean, that was the part. Like I joked, I said, we'll be live as soon as I stop crying because I'm watching Clayton Kershaw cry.
Yeah.
There's not an athlete that I think I've rooted more for personally than Clayton Kershaw in any sport. Just everything that he's had to go through. Because most of the time, if a guy goes through crap, it's because he's brought it upon himself. He either made a mistake or whatever. It's like Kershaw hasn't made a mistake. This is a genuinely unbelievable person who has been at the top of his game, who has brought so much to a team. Remember, Kershaw has been here long enough that he was here when we weren't any good. So for him to come through it all, to basically bear a load that was too much for him to bear and pay the consequences for it, for him to get to experience this was absolutely, this was the best sports moment of my life. The Lakers have won lots of titles. I've rooted for teams that have won things before, but going through what the Dodgers have gone through, this is absolutely cloud9, unbelievable. So, I mean, there's lots we're going to talk about. We are going to give away a hat, a World Series hat, so you're not going to want to miss that because obviously the World Series hat will not be like this World Series hat that you want to burn. Although it doesn't say 2017, I don't think. Oh, it does. It says 2017, so we got to get rid of that one.
It's also orange. I don't know whose idea that one was.
Yeah,
but
straight up Astros colors. But absolutely, we're going to do a headline. We're going to do a hat giveaway. We're going to talk about Justin Turner. We're going to talk about Blake Snell. There's lots to talk about, but the headline, Dodgers win. Corey Seager, MVP, your guy. This is a guy that you particularly have been driving the bandwagon for. You and I were both early on him.
Baby. All season.
The only argument for me would be if you want to go the narrative and give it to Kershaw. I think Seager statistically was unbelievable. I think he was so good that it would have been criminal not to give it to him. Personally, I wanted it for Kershaw. I think he was probably a clear second, I would imagine. But I mean, Corey Seager, MVP, I imagine you're pretty stoked about that.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I don't really care who actually wins the MVP. Just the fact that they're giving it out means the Dodgers won it all. That's good enough for me. like you said, Clayton Kershaw was definitely in the mix. Maybe if he would have came in and closed this thing out, that would have put him over the top. But it's hard to not pick Seager when he batted 400 with like a 1500 OPS for the series. He wound up driving in the winning run tonight. Although that's obviously more Mookie's doing than him
Yeah.
on that incredible base running as we come to expect with Mookie. But yeah, Corey Seager was ridiculous, well-deserved MVP. MVP of the NLCS and the World Series.
Crazy.
So he was just locked in all postseason. I'm so happy for that guy. He's been through a lot to get to this point too. Obviously not as much as Kershaw, but he's had his struggles in October. He's gone through injuries, and for him to get to this point where he's playing like legitimately one of the best players in the world this whole season, I'm so happy for him.
Yeah, I mean, this is a guy, if we're being honest, that I think a lot of Dodger fans were starting to give up on. He had, Rookie of the Year, MVP, like he was in the top 10 for MVP finishing as a rookie. And then for the career to go the way that it went, he struggled in the postseason. He was a guy that felt like you could pitch to in the postseason. So for him to have this year, absolutely unbelievable. I mean, the other guy we can't avoid talking about is Julio Urias. This is a guy that yesterday Dave Roberts said would be unavailable. He said Kershaw, Buehler, and Urias would be unavailable. There was a report today when they get to the stadium that Roberts said, you know what? I talked to Julio. He feels good. He might be available today. Friends, this is a guy who started a baseball game on Saturday. It's Tuesday. He started a game on Saturday. He comes in 2 1/3. Perfect. I mean, absolutely perfect. Filling up the strike zone, pumping at 94, 95. I think he finished with 5 strikeouts, I believe. 4 strikeouts and 2 1/3. I mean, you can't say enough. There were some people saying the problem with Urias is he wasn't like dominant enough in either series to win the MVP. But if you had to pick a playoff MVP, it would have to be Urias, right?
I mean, he came up huge every time they needed him to, whether it was starting, relieving as a bulk guy with an opener, closing games. I mean, he came in and pitched 3 perfect innings in Game 7 of the NLCS. Didn't even bat an eye, just got every single guy out to close out a really good Braves team. And then he comes back in this series and pretty much does the same exact thing. So, I mean, that guy, what he did was unbelievable. Every time you saw him on that mound, he just looked as calm as can be. Like, I'm over there on my couch just freaking out, and he's just on the mound just as calm as can be, humming 96 by guys. So, yeah, Julio is a guy who at the beginning of the season, we weren't really sure what his role was going to be. We weren't really sure, just how good he was, but he was incredible this postseason. Like you said, if we're giving out a full postseason MVP, he's definitely, at the top of the list.
23 innings pitched, 3 earned runs this postseason for Julio Urias. He gives up 11 hits. He strikes out 25. So 23 innings, 3 earned runs for Julio Urias. All of them solo home runs, by the way. He gave up 3 solo home runs, but 23 innings, 3 earned runs for Julio Urias. Absolutely amazing. And that doesn't even do it justice, because that doesn't mention that he got 9 straight outs to close out Game 7 of the NLCS, and then he got 7 straight outs to close out the World Series. So for a guy to start, to relieve, to close, to do everything in between, absolutely unbelievable for Julio Urias. Now let's switch gears. We'll talk about the one sort of damper on this whole thing, which is Justin Turner. If you're just joining us, it was announced Justin Turner got pulled, I believe, in the 8th inning. All of a sudden, Edwin Rios comes in at 3rd. Nobody really understood why. He wasn't in the dugout. Fox reports after the game that Justin Turner had a positive test. Jeff Passan of ESPN just tweeted this out in the last few minutes. In the 2nd inning tonight, the lab doing COVID tests informed MLB that Justin Turner's test from yesterday came back inconclusive. The samples from today had just arrived and were run. It showed up positive. The league immediately called the Dodgers and said to pull Turner. When the Dodgers return to their hotel tonight, everybody will be given a rapid test. On the field right now as they celebrate, the Dodgers are wearing masks. Unclear as to whether they'll stay in Dallas before traveling back to LA. Situation fluid right now. So absolutely bizarre scene. Obviously, I think you and I, it's twofold. On one hand, you hope the best for Justin Turner.
Yeah.
You hope the best for the Dodgers because remember, I mean, this is a bubble situation. So it's almost assuredly, I would imagine, the odds are we're going to hear more positive tests from the Dodgers if this does turn out to be a true positive, which it sounds like it is. But then secondly, I mean, this pales in comparison to his overall health, but for a guy like Turner, of all people, not to be able to celebrate with the Dodgers hurts.
Yeah, I mean, this is the only thing that's hurting my mood right now. Obviously, this is a great moment. The Dodgers won it all, but I just feel for Justin Turner right now. Obviously, like you said, his health comes first. So, I mean, hopefully it's not a situation where he infected his whole family or other guys on the team. We won't know. I mean, they've been celebrating together, which obviously they won a World Series, so you expect them to do, but it's not exactly ideal right
Yeah.
now. The timing of this could not have been worse. I guess the good thing is the Dodgers won tonight, so they don't have to worry about a game tomorrow. I could only imagine what that craziness would have been like. But I mean, my heart just breaks for Justin Turner, who's literally the heart and
Yeah.
soul of this team. He's their leader. No one questions his role. I mean, he's the captain of this team. He's the veteran that everyone looks to. And he's been here since, what was it, 2012, 2013. So he's been through this run of division titles where they weren't able to break through and win it all. So for, like you said, obviously his health comes first, but for him not to be able to celebrate with his teammates right now just breaks my heart. And I hope everyone's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Again, I mean, it's just, but you said it. I mean, Justin Turner, as much as the Dodgers have been terrible essentially in postseasons. I know they made it to World Series twice. I don't think anybody would qualify the Dodgers postseason as successful. Justin Turner's been the one guy who's been like amazing, not just like good on a bad team, but like amazing. Bellinger has struggled. Seager has struggled. Kershaw obviously has had his stuff, but for Turner to miss this, because again, this is a guy who wasn't great most of this postseason, but then he hits back-to-back games with a home run. He kind of was one of the guys that seemed to get it going for the Dodgers. So that one hurts. That one hurts. So obviously, yeah, praying for Justin Turner and hoping. I mean, there's a lot of scary things there. You don't want to go too far down the road, but AJ Pollock's there, who's got a daughter. Jock Peterson. You know, there's some health stuff kind of floating around. So we're hoping for the best. We're hoping that, somehow that this got contained and that Turner is the only one and he turns out to be okay. But man, what a 2020 way for this season to end, unfortunately. So let's we're going to do our headlines in just a minute, but let's walk through the game because there was a few big moments that got us to this point. Obviously, it starts with Tony Gonsolin. He gets the start for the Dodgers. First inning, just like last time for him, he gives up a home run. Randy Arozarena. I know immediately there's going to be questions about Gonsolin, blah, blah, blah. That was a pretty good pitch. I mean, that was a slider that was off the plate. I honestly have no clue. Like, do you remember when balls just died on the warning track and nobody could figure out how to hit the ball out? And then Arozarena, I mean, that was like a slap. That wasn't even a home run swing. Some bad luck for Gonsolin, although he comes back in the second. I thought it was the right move. He gets runners on first and second. They turn to Dylan Floro in what turned out to be an absolutely monumental moment. Arozarena is back up with runners on first and second and 2 outs. 3 straight changeups and a strikeout for Dylan Floro. A guy, by the way, that you and I have been pro Dylan Floro all year. So nice to get a little bit of vindication there.
We have. Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to start with Randy Arozarena. Now that the series is over and the Dodgers have won, I just want to give that guy a round of applause. What a run he had this October. None of us even knew who he was 3 weeks ago. And now he was Babe Ruth. And even the Dodgers, like when it's at the start of the series, it was like, all right, like the Dodgers know how to pitch this guy. They'll get him out. Just like similar to what they did with Tatis and Acuna and all those other young guys. But he just kept hitting, and in a lineup where literally no one else was hitting. It was mainly just him. And like you said, that pitch from Gonsolin, that was a good pitch. That was off the plate. It wasn't a fastball, which is what he's been crushing all year or all postseason. So, credit to Randy Arozarena. What a run he had.
Yeah. So the Dodgers get out of that one. Unfortunately, on the other side was Blake Snell, who finishes 5 1/3, 2 hits, 1 earned run, 9 strikeouts. The 1 earned run is absolutely comical because this is the moment that no Dodger fan really cares to talk about. But if you turn on Skip Bayless tomorrow morning, this is the only thing he's going to want to talk about, which is the decision to pull Blake Snell. He was absolutely cruising. He had just allowed the second hit of the game to Austin Barnes. He's about to go through the lineup for a third time. Kevin Cash, give him credit for being consistent. This is what the Rays do. They simply, again, I've said Snell had not pitched 6 innings all season. That record stands. He goes 5 2/3. They bring in a reliever, and then the Dodger bats get going.
Yeah, I'm not going to give Kevin Cash any sort of credit here. This just made no sense to me. I tweeted this is the worst managerial mistake I've ever seen. And now that it's over, obviously I stick by that because that could very well have cost them the game. They knew their offense wasn't getting much going. They had a lead Blake Snell was absolutely dealing. Like they couldn't even hit the ball against him. Like I think they had one hit, and like most of the guys putting the ball in play were like tapping out to the
Yeah.
pitcher or popping up. Like he had like 10 strikeouts. He was cruising. Um, and I
73
get
pitches too.
I
73
get
pitches.
the Rays' strategy. Like we don't want to let our starters face a lineup for the third time. But they had no chance against Blake Snell. The way
I
he
don't
was
think it would have mattered tonight.
yeah, the top of the Dodgers order against him, Mookie, Seager, and Turner were 0 for 6 with 6 strikeouts. Like, how do you take that guy out of the game? I would understand if he was over 100 pitches or something, but 73 pitches, it's his final start of the year. He's absolutely rolling. And you take him out for Nick Anderson, who had given up runs in like 6 straight
Yeah.
appearances or something. Like, to me, that made no sense. As a former pitcher, I feel bad for Blake Snell personally because I know what it feels like to have it working like that. Obviously, not at this level, but he had it all going tonight, and he probably could have got 2 more innings. And then maybe you're up 1-0 in the 8th, and then you go to your bullpen, and it's a lot easier to manage. But to me, that just made no sense. Like we saw Kevin Cash earlier in the series stick with Glasnow for 113 pitches when he was getting rocked. And then now you take out Snell at 73 pitches when he's shoving. So that made no sense to me, but I'm glad he did it because we're celebrating now instead of talking about a potential 1-0 loss in game 7 tomorrow.
Yeah. So he leaves with Barnes on first. Mookie Betts comes up. He doubles down the left field line to put runners at second and third. A wild pitch scores Barnes. Mookie moves to third. And then Corey Seager hits a soft ground ball to first base. And I mean, look, Mookie Betts, like, let's not beat around the bush. He has not been good in the last few days.
Yep.
Tonight was quintessential. I mean, this is 2020. The first game of the season, the Dodgers won because Mookie Betts scored on a slide into home plate. I believe on basically the same play, on a ground out to the infield.
Same play, yeah.
And I remember sitting here and you and I were doing a show and basically saying, like, this is why you get Mookie Betts. He just makes plays like that. Now, here we are in the World Series, Game 6, a must-win game. Mookie doubles down the line and then gets himself to third, takes the secondary lead, and immediately on contact is home to the point that it wasn't even a close play. The Dodgers go up 2-1, and then just for good measure, he hits a home run to put the Dodgers up 3-1 to give us all a little more breathing room. I think it was Chad Moriyama on Twitter tweeting, I don't know, I got to go worry about how Mookie's contract is going to age over the next 10 to 12 years. Definitely, we don't care about that. Mookie Betts, right in the middle of all of it. He was the hero of tonight, outside of Julio Urias and the Dodgers bullpen. And I mean, let me just give you the Dodger bullpen. You've got Floro, who gets 1 out, and it was probably the biggest out of the game. 3 pitches, 3 strikes, a strikeout of Arozarena with runners on first and second. Matt Moreno, his boy Alex Wood, 2 perfect innings with 3 strikeouts. Yep. Pedro Baez, 2/3 of an inning, 1 hit, 1 strikeout. Victor Gonzalez, another guy you and I have been high on, 4 outs, 3 of them via strikeout. Brusdar Graterol, 2/3 of an inning, 1 hit. And then Urias, 2 1/3, no hits, no walks, 4 strikeouts. The Dodgers finished with 16 strikeouts. They allowed just 7 base runners, 1 earned run. It was the solo home run in the first inning, the second batter of the game. I mean, this is vindication in so many ways. On one, the Dodgers outmanaged the Rays, and that probably has more to do with Kevin Cash than it does Dave Roberts, although he had to make a lot of decisions tonight. They all played out. The Dodger bullpen has been maligned, and they absolutely were dominant in a game that they needed to win. A guy like Urias has kind of had a roller coaster of a career. For him to have a come-through moment, for Mookie Betts to be the guy at the center of it, for Corey Seager to be at the center of it. There are just so many levels to this where it feels like every demon that the Dodgers have had was exercised tonight.
Yeah, I'm going to start with Mookie before I get to the bullpen. But, I mean, we've talked about how incredible that guy is. And I mean, it was easy to see. Like, when that guy was right and was doing good things, this team won. When he was, when he was struggling at the plate and going 0 for 5, this team lost. Like, it was that simple. And for him to come up, it was clear he didn't see the ball well off Snell. No one did, but Anderson comes in the game and he's the first batter in, and he slaps that double down the line, and it was like, all right, here we go. Let's do. It's like a brand new game, and it was almost like he was leading off the game there, and he got him started, and then of course he hits the home run. To give a big insurance run. I know none of us would have felt comfortable going back out for the 9th with a 1-run lead. So for him to provide that was huge. But I mean, how about that bullpen?
Yeah.
Tony Gonsolin gives up a run in the first inning. The plan was for him to have, a pretty normal start. The hope was to get 4 or 5 innings out of him. He only ends up getting 5 outs. He didn't have it tonight, but first of all, he escaped the jam in the first inning, which was big in its own. And then Floro comes in for him, like you said, in the second inning and gets a Rosarena with 3 straight changeups just perfectly placed. And that was huge. That I felt like that was a big momentum shift. Obviously, the Dodgers didn't score for a while after that, but that was the Rays' biggest chance to add to their lead right there. And they really never got anything going after that. And that's a huge credit to the Dodgers bullpen, which was great all season. Like, we knew this was, in them.
Yeah.
They struggled at times this postseason, but I mean, you're facing good teams. Like, no one's going to be perfect. So they got it done when they needed to. They were perfect tonight. 7.1 shutout innings from the bullpen. And like you said, everyone contributed, whether it's typical low leverage guys like Alex Wood and Floro. And then the big dogs. Victor Gonzalez was huge as always. Gratterall got a couple outs, and then Julio took care of the rest. So just an overall team win. We talked about the depth on this team and the versatility and how it's not just a few superstars getting it done. And that's what we saw really all postseason. I feel like just about every guy had their moment this postseason.
Yeah. Well, and here's some good news. Justin Turner just tweeted a few minutes ago, "Thanks to everyone for reaching out. I feel great. No symptoms at all. Just experienced every emotion you can possibly imagine. Can't believe I couldn't be out there to celebrate with my guys. So proud of this team. Unbelievably happy for the city of LA. Hashtag World Series champs." So that's great news. Justin Turner not feeling any symptoms of COVID. Again, we obviously hope that continues to be the case and that nobody catches it. But yeah, I mean, you said it. The Dodger bullpen. Imagine if a starting pitcher put together the line that the Dodger bullpen did tonight. 7 1/3 innings, 2 hits, and 12 strikeouts with no walks, no runs. 7 1/3, 2 hits, no runs, no walks, 12 strikeouts. Absolutely unbelievable. And again, I love that in part because this is a group that I don't think has gotten the credit that they deserve. I think people have historically questioned the Dodger bullpen. I think they've tinkered with it. They've gotten pet pieces. And don't forget, I mean, they're missing a guy, Caleb Ferguson, who would have been one of the better arms they had out there. But they find a guy like Victor Gonzalez seemingly out of nowhere. This is a guy who it sounded like almost quit baseball. They find Blake Trinan. They sign him. They piece together guys like Dylan Floro. And then they hold on to and develop guys like Jansen and Baez and fill in the blank. So for the Dodgers, what an unbelievable opportunity. And in a series where all we heard about was, the Rays bullpen, the Rays bullpen, the Rays bullpen. Well, guess what? The Rays bullpen blew it tonight, and the Dodger bullpen was absolutely dominant. So congratulations, obviously, in order for the Dodgers. Unbelievable accomplishment. And as you said, anybody who wants to put an asterisk on this one can go, take care of themselves somewhere else.
I'm just tuning those people out. I really don't care what the Padres fans or the Angels fans, whoever it is, whatever y'all have to say, I don't care. We won the World Series. We're celebrating. We've been waiting. I've been waiting my whole life for this. You have as well. So you've been we've been doing this for a long time, and here we are. So I don't care if it was 60 games, 162 games. If anything, it was harder. It was an expanded postseason. There was so much uncertainty with COVID and everything. So this World Series was as deserving as any.
Yeah, and someone pointed this out, referenced this in the comments, but I also thought it was cool of Andrew Friedman to give a special shout out to Clayton Kershaw, to Kenley Jansen, to Justin Turner, and then to a guy like Ross Stripling. I thought that was really classy of the Dodgers to shout out Ross Stripling, the guy who's been so integral to a part of this team. I'm sure, without a doubt, rooting for the Dodgers. He deserves a ring. He was a part of the team this season, so he'll get it. So good for him. And I mean, Joshua Shaw puts in the comments, "Is asterisk is BS. We played a whole extra playoff round." That's absolutely right. They had no home field advantage, and they had to go through one extra round of the playoffs. If anything, this was more difficult. I said the same thing about the Lakers. The Dodgers deserved home field advantage, and they got none of it. So, anybody who wants to put an asterisk on it, that's fine. The T-shirts and the hats and the sweatshirts that I'll be wearing will have no asterisks on them. So we can move along from that.
Yeah.
Well, let's do this. Let's get to some headlines. We've got a Dodgers World Series hat to give away, and I think those are going to be in more demand than ever. So here are the rules if you're just joining us tonight for the first time. You've got to be subscribed to our YouTube channel, Dodger Blue 1958. Then you've got to follow us either on Facebook or on Twitter. That's just so you can send us a message with your contact information. The premise is simple. In the comments, send us your headline if you were writing a story tomorrow morning. What would your headline be? I didn't think of a ton, although as usual, I wrote the headline for our YouTube channel and all that kind of thing. And I just wrote Dodgers are freaking World Series champions or something. What did I write? Dodgers win the freaking World Series. That's my headline. Very plain, very simple. Dodgers win the freaking World Series. So throw your headline in the chat and we'll go from there. Ernesto says Mamba mentality leads LA to 2 championships. Somebody put Julio Urias, and I think it corrected to Julio Urinal. So I think that meant Urias.
That's not the headline we're looking.
Not the headline we're looking for. Priceless. Dodgers win World Series. There you go. That's nice. A little David Price shout out.
Justin Turner's on the field right now, actually. Wow.
Really? This one's for Scully and Kershaw from Derek Wing. I like that. I mean, Justin Turner probably just said, screw you, we're taking our chances.
I mean, at this point.
The Mookie bet trade pays off. Urias, you did it. Dodgers are champs. Shout out to Splash. Love you. As a Rays fan, this hurt a lot, but congrats to the Dodgers. Glad to see Kershaw with the ring now. Good for you. I've got friends that are Giant fans kind of saying the same thing. Look, I'm happy for Kershaw. I hate the Dodgers, but
look, what now, you don't have to like the Dodgers, but Clayton Kershaw is one of the most genuine human beings on this planet.
Yeah.
Like, obviously his accolades and what he's done in his career speaks for itself, but the man off the field does more charity. Him and his wife Ellen and their family, they do more charity work than anyone. They're so awesome, and I can't think of anyone that's more deserving. Sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good. You're good. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's kind of the sense that I'm getting. Here's a good one from Drew Hall. Rays cash out early, letting Dodgers win World Series.
That's clever. Cash.
This one's for Eric Gagne. I mean, Jeremy Bryan, you know I have a soft spot for Eric Gagne, so I appreciate that. You probably don't know I have a soft spot. Maybe you were one of the 6 people that started watching our show way back in like March when we started this thing. But yeah, big Gagne guy. Dodgers, Lakers, 2020 Titletown, USA. Let's see. Bubble champions of Los Angeles. Mookie bets and wins it all. Manfred can't steal this one. Dodgers champs. Kershaw, Dodgers win the World Series like it's 1988. Somebody keeps talking about Manny Machado. I couldn't care less about Manny Machado.
What Manny Machado, remember when he bet that fan at
that's
Dodger
right.
Stadium? He said he'd give up his whole salary if the Dodgers won the World Series
Fair
before
enough.
them.
Fair enough.
That fan's got to go and collect now, I guess.
Clayton,
a lot of money.
Clayton Goatshaw from Daniel Nam. I mean, again, Clayton Kershaw, that's an easy way to my heart. Ringing it for Kershaw, City of Champions. Gibson smiles on Dodgers World Series win. In Julio we trust. That's a good one from Miguel Zuniga. Michael X says, congrats Dodgers from a Cubs fan. Thank you. We appreciate it. I mean, that's another team that knows what it's like to go for a while. Jeremy Bryan says, I want to swim in the Diamondbacks pool. I'm with you, man. Let's go. Let's get Puig. Let's road trip. Roberts
on this team.
Roberts robbed of blowing game. Kevin cashes in. This was for Tommy. Adam 818. Hashtag jobs finished from Josiah Mepstead. I like that.
I like that too.
Let's see what else we got. Dodgers took Tampa finish for Rays at the Bay. This one's for Jose Lima and Chanho Park. All right. Cool. R.I.P. Jose
first
Lima.
Dodger playoff win I ever saw. Jose Lima.
I'm
baby.
with you. I'm with you. I'm with you. Cash pulls a Roberts. Dodgers win. Dodgers took Tampa fishing for Rays at the Bay. I think I read that one. Negative narrative no more. Kershaw gets his ring. That's from Brittany Matlock. I like that. I'm keeping a couple of these in our notes here so we can pick one. Just like Fernando Valenzuela in 1981. But Julio Urias in 2020. That's nice. Big team of win of 2020 World Series with no asterisk. Go Dodgers from Angie Leonard. Let's see. La Ciudad de Los Angeles with LA sort of in caps there. Tonight we're going to party like it's 1988. Jeff gets to smile. I do get to smile. Thank you. Very happy. More happy than I was after game 4. That's for sure.
We've had some roller coaster shows this postseason. We've had some good ones, some not so good ones, but I mean, it was all worth it to get to this point.
Joshua Shaw says, Astros who? Florida man underestimates Mookie Betts. I like that one. A city of champions, Los Angeles. Just let's see. Man, we got so many of these. Knox leads the Dodgers to a World Series. Okay, by the way, I was way behind on the Knox Kelly thing.
Oh, man.
So good. So good. If you don't know who
awesome.
Knox Kelly is, search Twitter for Knox Kelly and go find the video. I think the Dodgers put one out a few days ago with all of his like pregame speeches. So, so good. So good. Dodgers win the World Series while we sit on the couch. Hashtag no choke. Corey Seager won MVP for somebody asking. Los Angeles, city of champions. Man, someone keeps. Well, I'm just assuming that's not a mistake. Prayers for JT as he beats Corona. Yes, sir.
Yep.
Kevin Cash.
Possibly more. We'll see.
Kevin Cash wins Seager. More cash next year. All bets on Dodgers winning the World Series. That'd be a good one. You could do the bets thing. Dodger bets cash in. Nobody said that one. That would have been a good one. Me inspired by you. LA's popping bottles. Let's see. Somebody's tweeting about Kyler Murray and the Cardinals. I don't know. Okay, let's see. We've got some good ones here. I personally, if it's up to me, I like negative narrative no more. Kershaw gets his ring.
That works for me.
Okay, Brittany Matlock, congratulations. You are our winner. Negative narrative no more. Kershaw gets his ring. I'm all about Kershaw busting narratives, getting his ring. Honorable mention, Drew Hall for Rays cash out early, letting Dodgers win. I like that one. Clayton Goatshaw from Daniel Nam. Jobs finish from Josiah. Dan Inspiration, all bets on Dodgers. But Brittany Matlock, you're our winner. Negative narrative no more. Kershaw gets his ring. So find us on Facebook or on Twitter at DodgerBlue1958. Send us your info. Again, make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel and send it that way. So there you go. The Dodgers win. Daniel, I don't have a prediction to make for tomorrow. You don't have a prediction to make for tomorrow. You predicted. I want to give three things a shout out. First of all, Daniel predicted Dodgers in 6. So shout out to him.
Yep, I did.
Second of all, I want to give my friend Scott a shout out. As many of you heard who followed us a couple nights ago, he is the one who has sacrificed his watching of the game because when he watches, they lose. When he doesn't, they win. He went for a 4-hour walk tonight. He kept texting me, still walking, still walking, still walking. Well, Scott, if you're in here, congratulations to you. Dodgers win the World Series. So Scott deserves an honorable chat MVP. And then lastly,
take one for the team,
yes,
Scott.
absolutely. And then lastly, I just want to say I deserve no credit, but I did for 2 rounds in a row predict the Dodgers to sweep. I did for 2 rounds in a row change my prediction for the Dodgers to lose after Game 4, and both times it worked like a freaking charm. So congratulations to us for all those things. But I mean, as we close this thing out, I want to let everybody have a chance to go celebrate in whatever way you want to celebrate. If you're like me, you haven't eaten in like 6 hours, so some of us need to go get some carbs.
I didn't eat tonight, by the way.
Hey,
I did not eat.
I ordered food. It arrived at 7:30, and I said, when I don't eat, we win, so I'm not going to eat. So I kept things going. But
everyone's doing their part.
Everybody's doing their part. Everyone's doing their part. We appreciate you. I want to say we appreciate you all joining us. I mean, in all seriousness, when we launched this show, I remember I think it was just me, basically, and we didn't even know if baseball was going to happen. We were doing like fantasy drafts of former Dodger teams. I picked a Korean baseball team, which, by the way, KT Wiz, shout out to you, made it to the playoffs. I mean, we were doing nothing.
Watch that now.
I will. I got time. But I mean, we were doing shows like, you know, is baseball going to happen? We were reading the latest Jeff Passan article and basically summarizing and talking about it, doing all sorts of crazy things. I don't think either of us had a ton of confidence that the season would happen. Then it did. We didn't have a ton of confidence that it would finish. Then it did. We were both worried about the playoffs because of the weird setup and blah, blah, blah. But you know, right now on Twitter, there's a big meme of the before and after picture. I need to find the screenshot of us with Korean baseball teams next to it, and then us now celebrating a World Series. So shout out to you. Our numbers have grown. Our viewers have gone up day after day after day. We appreciate you all joining us. We are going to continue this show on into the offseason, looking forward to next year. So before we finish anything, I want to say thank you to you guys for joining us, for chatting, for commenting. We appreciate it. But Daniel, as we kind of close this thing out, Where are you at? Final thoughts, headspace, emotionally, where are you at?
Well, yeah, first thing, since you just reminded me, I just want to go on record that when we did that all-time Dodgers draft, I feel like I most definitely had the best team. So I'm gonna stick to that. I had the best team there. Maybe we'll bring it back and ask people to see. But yeah, like you said, I had no clue that we'd ever get to this point. I didn't think a season would happen. So just for us to be sitting here right now talking about the Dodgers winning the World Series is incredibly humbling. Like so many emotions going through my mind, but the one is just pure joy. And I'm happy for everyone that's a loyal Dodger fan as well, that came on this show every night to complain about Dave Roberts or Kenley, or talk about, Justin Turner not getting going at the plate or whatever it was. Like, we're all in this together. We're all rooting for the Dodgers to win. It's been frustrating at times for sure, but I mean, hey, it's all worth it in the end. And like Jeff said, I just want to give a thank you to everyone for supporting us, and coming in and tuning in and night out, whether the Dodgers won or lose. You guys showed up, so we appreciate that. And obviously, there's more to come from us.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, we're just getting started here. We've got exciting things planned for the future. We're learning on the fly. I mean, this is our first time doing a lot of this, so we appreciate the patience with us. And I mean, to have as many people engage with us on Facebook and YouTube and Periscope right now, and as we have over the last few weeks. I mean, we've been doing this for, it's like, however many days. We've only missed a couple. But it's been a wild ride, and we appreciate you. So, I mean, you kind of hinted at this. So I was born in November of 1988. So I missed I was in my mom's stomach at a World Series game the last time the Dodgers won. So it could not have been a worse ride. I mean, for the Dodgers, for me, it goes all the way back. You pointed it out. Jose Lima, I don't even know what year that was, but that was the first time the Dodgers won a playoff game in my lifetime since 1988. And that was like, I mean, we're talking like late 90s, like,
early
so
2000s even, maybe.
It might have been. Somebody get me a date on that one. But the point is, and they lost, by the way. They were already down like 2-0. He wins that, and then they lose. Yeah. So for the Dodgers to get to the place where they have, and it's such a roller coaster, right? To go through as many years of just obscurity and worthlessness as they did, then to get to the point where they're the NL West champs every single year, then to get to the point where they make the World Series 2 years in a row, but then to lose twice, and then to come back last year with all the expectations, having been to the World Series 2 years in a row, and then to lose as early as they did to the Nationals was so crushing. Then this year, they have the best team in baseball, and is the season going to happen? Is it not? It's 60 games. The small sample size is bad news for the Dodgers. They've got to go through an extra round of the playoffs. They go down 3-1 in the NLCS. They lose the unbelievable Game 4 in the World Series. I mean, every single piece of it that could possibly go wrong, that could possibly work against the Dodgers did, and yet here we are. The Dodgers are 2020 World Series champions. I said it was the best sports moment of my life. The reason is simply because of everything they've gone through. The pain that Dodger fans have endured over the last 4 years, not to mention the Astros cheating scandal, not to mention the Red Sox cheating scandal, but just everything that the Dodgers, the Clayton Kershaw narrative, everything that the Dodgers have had to endure. And look, the Dodgers have had it better than a lot of teams, but the thing about this, comparing this, a lot of my friends are like, hey, the Lakers won, now the Dodgers. Like, the Lakers have been so successful that being a Laker fan is easy. Being a Dodger fan is a challenge. It's difficult.
Yeah.
And to go for 6 games in this series and every night, right? Like, if you follow an NFL team, you play the Super Bowl, 1 game, it's all over. To endure what the Dodgers have had to endure for months and weeks and days at a time, and then to get to the point where Julio Urias is standing on the mound 3 outs away, and to get to the point where he's 1 strike away, and he fires a fastball right down the middle that the Rays just stood watching. I mean, it's an unbelievable experience. It's an unbelievable feeling, and I can't even put into words. It will take me weeks and months and years to process what's going on right now, because this is an unbelievable feeling.
Yeah. I mean, legitimately one of my earliest memories in life, and I remember this incredibly, like, vividly, even to this day. I remember my dad came and picked me up from preschool one day, and he told me that the Dodgers traded away Mike Piazza. And Mike Piazza was my first favorite baseball player ever. And I just remember just bawling, crying in the middle of my classroom because the Dodgers had traded Mike Piazza. So like you said, we've been through so many ups and downs. I mean, I've been to thousands of games. I remember as a little kid going, sitting down the left field line and going, leaning over the railing, trying to get as many autographs as
Yeah.
possible. Even this hat I'm wearing right now, it's got a little Jonathan Broxton
Oh,
signature on it
Broxton, let's go, the
from
big
when I
boy.
was like 13 years old at spring training one year. So yeah, we've been through so much as Dodger fans, and just to get to this point, it's incredible.
Yeah. So shout out to the Dodgers. Shout out to Dave Roberts, a guy that has been crushed sometimes, most of the time, part of the time, rightfully so. But he pulled all the strings. I mean, all the things behind the scenes. You want to talk about how a team can rally from down 3-1, how a team can come back from the loss that they endured in Game 4. I mean, you've got to give credit to Dave Roberts because that's a culture thing. That's a character thing. And for him to be able to get that, he pulls all the right strings in Game 5 and all the right strings in Game 6. So congrats to him. Congrats to Corey Seager, Cody Bellinger, some young guys who have struggled, Justin Turner, Kenley Jansen, who have been through it all, and of course, Clayton Kershaw. I mean, we've said it. This is where we'll start. This is where we'll end. There is nobody else that we are more excited for tonight than Clayton Kershaw. And I hope we never again have to hear about Clayton Kershaw's struggle in the playoffs. And if we do, I won't care because he's a World Series champion. And he earned every second of this World Series title for the Dodgers. He was their best pitcher for the entirety of the season. He was their best pitcher in the playoffs, aside from a couple Walker Buehler starts here and there. Kershaw was fantastic. And I'm thrilled. I mean, it's just for guys like Jansen, Kershaw, Turner, even a guy like Jock Peterson, who might not be back next year, like for guys like that who you just seen day in and day out for year after year, for them to get it, right? Because if it wasn't this, it's like, well, how much longer is Kenley going to be able to hang on and be contributor? And Kershaw and Turner, I mean, Turner's a free agent. Jock Peterson's a free agent. So for those guys, I think even Austin Barnes might be a free agent, but for guys that have been through the wars with the Dodgers to get to win and not as like the veteran at the end of a bench that isn't contributing, I mean, that I think just gives me so much joy and so much pleasure as we experience this one.
Yeah, you said it. I mean, they earned it to this point. I can only imagine like all the heartbreak we went through, like what it would actually feel like to actually be a member of the team and go through all that. So no one worked harder than these guys, and they deserve, every second of it. And they're gonna have a really good team again next year, so maybe they'll repeat. So yeah, let's just enjoy this night though. Hope everyone out there celebrates and does so responsibly, obviously. But let's have a good night. We earned it.
Yep. And Justin Turner, by the way, is on the field in the team picture. So, whatever. May or may not be wearing a mask according to some people. So
COVID for everyone.
Praying for the best for Turner and the Dodgers. I can't really blame him on one hand, and on the other hand, man, I hope this turns out okay. So thank you again for joining us. Unbelievable. The Los Angeles Dodgers are 2020 World Series champions. I'm sure Daniel and I will be back here maybe with Matt at some point in the near future. Not tomorrow, not in the next couple days, but we'll let this one sit for a while, and then we'll get some more time to enjoy this and celebrate and break it down. So that'll do it for us tonight. That's Daniel Starkin. You can follow him on Twitter at @dstarkin. My name is Jeff Spiegel at Jeff Spiegel on Twitter. We appreciate you all for tonight, for all season, for joining us, and congratulations. The Dodgers are World Series champions.